All right. Let's get into it. 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's try this again. All right. Let's get ready to record. 3, 2. All right.
What are we doing?
I don't know. All right, let's try this again. Okay. Ooh, man, it's been too long. I ain't done this in a while. All right. 3, 2, 1. Oh shit. Okay. All right, for real. All right, we gotta start the show. Let's start the show.
Welcome to After Playlist, the music playlist discussion and reaction podcast. I am one of your hosts, Terrio.
And I am Brandon Lee. We love music and talking about it. And today, this episode is all about us. So we wanted to make a playlist celebrating Black Giraffe, our parent company, and our creative minds. With our powers combined, we are Black Giraffe. So what is Black Giraffe, you might ask? Well, we know you heard the tag at the end of the episode, at least you should have at this point. Black Giraffe made this. And, you probably were curious about it. So basically, like I said, Black Giraffe is our creative company, aka our parent company for producing this very show, as well as some other things coming up in the pipeline. And we've been doing this for about 2 years or so. And a particular day in April, between the 19th and the 21st, just happened. So we wanted to kind of put together a random playlist to celebrate all of our accomplishments and, celebrate the moment.
And beyond.
And beyond.
So, throughout this episode, we're going to be referring to 2 random sentences, aka the songs from the silly Black Giraffe themed playlist. To ensure everyone is familiar, I'm going to recap those sentences and introduce the songs featured today right now. So, the first sentence was Black Giraffe feels like you stepped on clouds. And that is Black by Pearl Jam, Giraffe by Miniature Tigers, Feels by Giraffage, Like You by Bow Wow featuring Ciara, Stepped On by KAYTRANADA, and Clouds by J. Cole. The second sentence of the playlist is Black Giraffe Pussy so high, I'm so glad we made it down. That is Black by Sevendust, Giraffe Pussy by Baby Bash and Paul Wall featuring Berner, So High by Doja Cat, I'm So Glad by Freddie Dredd, We Made It by Lewis Tomlinson,
yeah,
and Down by Marian Hill. So if you haven't already listened to the songs or caught the hidden sentences that we're about to discuss, we have direct links to the music playlist in the description, aka the show notes, for your listening pleasures.
And before we dive into the episode, we have a few after playlist disclaimers. New number 1, I am Terrio. That's Brandon Lee.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So just in case
we
tricked you, suckers. Just in case this happens to be your first time listening to the After Playlist podcast, we want to make that clear. And if you are listening for the first time, thank you, and we're sorry. Maybe. Check the other episodes out. Oh yeah, correction. Yeah, you're welcome. But definitely check the other episodes out and get the real feel. This is a intentionally silly episode, so be ready. But really, our main disclaimer is we respect everybody's opinion, regardless of how wrong or awful it may be. Number 3, we respect giraffes of all colors, shapes, and sizes, but we really like the black ones because they're the coolest.
They are the coolest.
And Black Giraffe made this, so we have to oblige.
Well, that just makes sense.
It has no choice. Number 4, this playlist happens to come out a few days before a particular day between the 19th and the 21st. That's particularly not associated with the rabbit and other things about laying eggs. We're talking about the other event that happens between the 19th and the 21st over the weekend. So, we hope that you enjoyed that weekend. Hint, hint. So definitely enjoy that. And lastly, we're just, talking about the music, not the artist's real life, cancelable or personable issues.
Yeah. And lastly, if you're enjoying the podcast, please be sure to give us a like and subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever it is that you like to listen to your podcast. That is the easiest way to share and support the show, and it's much appreciated.
Yeah.
So without further ado, man, let's dive into Black Giraffe made this.
Why did we do this? But why are we like this? That's the real question.
Yeah. we did this because we're like this. Now, why are we like this? How much time do you really got?
Right. Be the first 18-part podcast on one topic, on one playlist. I guess we can go ahead and just start with the first sentence. Black Giraffe feels like you stepped on clouds.
And this was my sentence. So there was several songs that I ended up picking for mine. I like about half of my songs I was not at all familiar with before picking them for this playlist. I literally picked them solely based off of the fact that it matched the sentence I was trying to create.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, just Black Giraffe feels like you stepped on clouds. That's what we want you to feel like you're floating up when you're listening to our playlist, and we got you elevated, and
it matches the theme.
It matches the theme. And also, giraffes are tall.
Yes.
So, we had to have something about them being like up in the clouds, just because in real life, their heads are like up in the clouds because they're like
way out there.
They'd be way up there.
Way up there, yo.
So, like I said, there's about half of these I was not familiar. I was not familiar with Black by Pearl Jam. I was not familiar with Giraffe by Miniature Tigers. And I was not familiar with KAYTRANADA Stepped On. Okay. Surprisingly. I picked Black by Pearl Jam, one because I needed a Black song, but Pearl Jam because we've said a few times on this podcast that we kind of want to get a little bit more grunge. Yeah, we wanted to get some more grunge music on here. Sorry, I was blanking on the term grunge for a second. And Pearl Jam is definitely one of those. I in my own head, at least, I put them up there with like Alice in Chains and Nirvana as far as like kind of the poster childs for the genre.
Mm-hmm.
They're definitely, they're still going around touring today, as far as I know, or at least, somewhat recently they were. I'm still making music. So I wanted them on there. But the song itself, I'm kind of like meh on it, if I'm honest.
Really? I kind of, it's a slow burner. So it definitely starts off kind of want, but then once you kind of give it a second to breathe or kind of tune out and then tune back in, I was digging it, honestly.
Well, let me ask you this. I know neither one of us have really listened to a ton of grunge, but have you listened to Pearl Jam? Like other songs of theirs really in the past?
Not knowingly.
Because I also have not really listened to a ton of Pearl Jam. Like I really only know them as that like I just said, one of the other big grunge bands that I've just never really listened to. Because again, neither one of us are like super knowledgeable and have super listened to that genre. I don't know. Maybe I need to. I definitely actually need to give them like some more listens of some of the other songs, but I was kind of disappointed by this song. I was really hoping I think I had some of my own bias and like misconceptions maybe going in. I was really hoping something on like the same level of like a Nirvana hit or an Alice in Chains hit. And maybe this song just isn't the best example of that because I was trying to find a song that, fit the theme of the sentence. So it's a little bit weird. I don't know if this is necessarily like one of their like super popular songs. It's a good representation of them. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Well, from what I can recall, there wasn't really like a really epic guitar solo, I don't think, right?
No, there wasn't.
And I think that might be why you're disappointed because like you need your shredded fix.
That's definitely part of it. I can admit that. That's definitely part of it. I also I don't know, the lyrics themselves, I didn't like super vibe with or like connect with. Like I think I kind of understood mostly what the song was saying. I just didn't didn't connect to me on a personal level. So it wasn't as like emotional and raw, I feel like, as like Nutshell by Alice in Chains, right?
Yeah.
This is like a good example, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I mean, for what it was, but I think I was more concentrated on the vibe and not so much on the lyrics. And I can forgive the lyrics because the vibe was good for me.
Well, I didn't hate it again. This was meh. The playlist as a whole, there's about half of it I liked, and then of the remaining half, it's like split between I didn't like it or it's like I could take it or leave it. Like I don't hate it, but I don't really love it either. Kind of depends on what mood I'm in and if I'm going to enjoy it. I think kind of vibe.
I mean, let's be clear. This entire playlist is random as hell. It's put
It is
together
very random.
It's put together as far as like the sentence structure, but as far as sonically,
it's all over the place.
It's all over the place. And long as the sentence made sense, I'm fine with it. But then when listening to the songs, I was like, I guess for me, I'm okay with that because I kind of like, okay, sometimes I'm in the mood for just a particular sonic flowing, everything has to mesh together. And then other times I'm just like, let's bring on pure chaos and let's go from Little John to Bjork to Pearl Jam to whoever. Like, I'm okay with that in that moment. Like, give me that chaos. I want that rubberneck situation. And this playlist is definitely rubbernecking quite a bit. And it's fun.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It's definitely fun. It's I mean, kind of like you just said, the variation definitely keeps you on your toes as you're going through. Like literally from the starting out. Right? So we have Black by Pearl Jam. It is a much more kind of slower, acoustic-y type, more of it, like you said, slow burn type of song. And then we get Giraffe by Miniature Tigers, which is much more poppy. And
this song is so silly.
It's so silly.
It's so
it doesn't
silly.
even say the word giraffe in the actual song, but that's what you get for sticking at your neck. Which is just, this is another song that's like, I'm kind of meh on it, but if it catches me in the right mood, I'm definitely like singing along and smiling.
It's one of those songs where it's definitely earworming. And
it is earworming for sure.
And it tickles me because at first I was just like, sticking out your neck, like that don't black sticking out your neck, like what are you talking about? And I looked at the title of the song, I was like, oh, and I just started cracking up. So this is one of the first songs on the playlist that literally cracked me up because I was like, wow, that is funny. That it is right on the nose as far as the whole sticking out the neck part. The part for me that was the sometimey part was. It's not the lyrics. The lyrics are fine. The instrumentation of it. It definitely gives me Nick Jr. Disney Channel vibes for a moment. Yeah. And once I kind of had to kind of check myself out of it for a moment, and then I'm like, oh, okay, this is the vibe of the song. Okay, I can just ride with it. But it definitely gives you that kind of like afternoon. You skip school and that's what's on the TV.
It's got that like. Maybe late. I don't even know when this came out now that I'm actually thinking about it. Okay. I was actually pretty spot on. It came out, the album that this song is on came out in 2009. I was about to say it has like the late 2000s, like indie rock / pop feel that was like you said, kind of Nick, whatever. Like it has those kind of vibes for sure. Definitely has that. A fun fact about the band Miniature Tigers, as I was looking them up for this episode and for this playlist, their bassist and I share a name. His name is Brandon Lee. Which I just thought was kind of neat.
And they have a song about giraffes.
So, maybe that's like my long lost brother or something.
I'm about to say, like, that's the is it just the multiverse? Just the alternative Brandon Lee?
If he was the one who really pushed for this song, then that's. Yeah, he's a long lost brother from another mother type situation for sure. Because it's got to be a coincidence that there's two Brandon Lees that love giraffes in the world. Like, can't be super common,
right?
All right, well then we move right on down to Feels by Giraffage, and this was actually a holdover from the original idea for this playlist that definitely got workshopped and morphed into what it is now. Where at first I was going to just try and have a playlist full of all songs that all had giraffe somewhere in the name or the artist.
Oh, wow.
But that relatively quickly proved to be kind of difficult to do because there's not a ton of songs / groups that have giraffe in the name. As we discovered, I think both of us in making the playlist and trying to find a song that had the giraffe in the title. Kind of hard to find.
Yeah.
So Giraffage it's actually just one guy, Charlie Yin. He's an American electronic music producer. He's of Taiwanese descent, grew up in San Jose, California, and graduated from Berkeley, University of California. Has been making music since early 2010s, has toured with all over the world with a lot of other EDM, kind of bigger name artists. Still making music, I believe, as far as I know, still making music. I've been a fan of his since about maybe like 2015, not too long after he'd kind of started blowing up, 2014, 2015. In large part because I see a group and their name is Giraffage. I'm like, oh. I haven't even heard a single song by you yet, but you're now my favorite band of all time. And Feels is just a nice... it has which one of the people he toured with, especially early on, was XXYYXX. It definitely has kind of a similar vibe to a lot of his music as well.
Yeah, so I can feel that.
A lot of that style of EDM, electronic music, whatever you want to call it, is definitely like my kind of wheelhouse for the style of electronic that I kind of naturally gravitate towards.
Yeah.
And this is just another like primo example of that.
Yeah, when that one came up, I was confused that my playlist had switched over to a different playlist. And then I realized I was like, oh, this is the playlist. This is the theme of the playlist. That
happens a few times to me, at least, throughout.
So yeah, it's definitely a vibe. I enjoy the song. Obviously, EDM is my home base, apparently, when it comes to like just my relaxation and kind of chill music. And I enjoyed it. It was really good. At first I was like, oh, okay, I like the song, Feels. And I was like, well, why is this on us here? I was like, oh, Giraffage. I was like, God dang it.
Yeah.
It's like as tall of a creature of a giraffe is, you never know when they just sneak up on you.
Right. Especially when I'm around.
Right.
You gotta sneak them in there.
Those sneaky giraffes.
So yeah, that one's just a good EDM electronic style song that you can just kind of vibe out to and chill to. Like You by Bow Wow featuring Ciara. This is one of my songs I do not like. Bro. I knew the song putting it on here, and I knew as I was putting it on here, I was like, I don't like this song. But damn it, if it doesn't fit the sentence I'm trying to make so well.
It does fit, but I was just like, you could not find another song? Because like honestly, like I did not think of, I mean, granted, I shouldn't feel this way, but I did not think Bow Wow of all people will appear on a playlist that we create. To be truly honest, like no shade, but all the shade.
Only on a playlist like this, dude. Only on a playlist like this would he show up.
I mean, the song itself has grown on me a little bit, slightly, only because somebody had actually remade the song recently and like sampled it or whatever, and I was like, okay, I like this version better than the original. But also, I will admit that when this song came out, I was the biggest Bow Wow hater because this is around the time he was dating Ciara, and I was just like, how the hell this tiny little motherfucker get Ciara? And like I was just hating. But if you got Riz, you got Riz.
When this song came out, it was like super popular because it was back in like, when did this? I think this song came out like 04.
It was like
05.
Mid 2000.
05. So yeah, I had like my first like childhood, like not legitimate, but at the time, whenever you were like 9 or 10, feels legitimate girlfriend at the time. Whenever this song was super popular, and this song I thought was like, oh, that's me. He's telling my life. Like, I remember having thoughts like that, and just being like, I get it. Me. I can, I got my girlfriend now. I understand what he's saying. Like that, just that kind of like. Whenever you're a kid and you think you get it, but you really have like,
no idea.
You're so far from getting it. That was me with this song. I think it was on one of those like now you like music or whatever, those, if you remember those like compilation CDs that came out like way back in the day. And I got one of those for like music. Yeah, now that's what I call music. That's what it was. I got one of those for like either my birthday or Christmas, and that year's version of that CD had this song on there. And that was like one that I remember I like ripped off that CD to put on my own mix CDs that I would make and all that type of stuff back in the day. But yeah, as a grown man, hate the song. Not really a fan. Ciara has a beautiful voice, as she always has and probably will for a long time. But yeah, I'm not. It's definitely a product of its time. I feel like in a lot of regard.
I mean, it is, but it's just one of them. I don't know. I guess I just hated the the repetitive this other chorus. The chorus to me was annoying.
Yeah.
It was just a
but I do like the beat. The like
it's just I don't know. I don't like the beat either. So it was again, I was just an all around hater, and to kind of take a step back and just look at the technical part of it, to be able to hit that follow that rhythm and everything else and be on beat with it. Kudos to Ciara and production team to make that happen.
Sure.
But overall, I'm just like, yeah, this is not. It's not for me. So did you hear the remake of it? There's like a remake version with YFN Lucci, I guess, or I don't know. But either way, I know Rick Ross is on it.
I have not heard that.
I'm gonna play a little sample for you. And this one made me like the song more when I heard their version on it. And then when Rick Ross got on the beat, it was pretty dope how he was able to kind of flip it.
Well, let's hear it. Maybe the same will happen to me. I really like Leighton Green's voice on the chorus on that.
Yeah, she killed it. She definitely killed it. But yeah, so that was the vibe. When I heard that song at work the other day, and I was like, oh, okay. Why didn't they come out with this version? Like this, I like this a lot better than the original.
Yeah, based on that snippet, I have to agree. It was good. I definitely would listen to that again before I listen to "Like You" by Bow Wow.
Yeah,
I ended up skipping that song most of my listens to the playlist. I listened to it a few times just for nostalgia and posterity's sake, but yeah, well, I don't think this is one that'll be popping up.
Definitely not that. But speaking of popping up, spoiler / not spoiler because it's been a while, but shout out to Bow Wow for being on The Masked Singer and making it, I think, either to the finale or almost finale. Yeah, that was an experience. My mom was hooked on that show and told me to watch it. And I ended up, she was like, just watch this episode. And I watched the episode, and then we were trying to guess who it was. And then it was just like, huh. That explains why that particular character wasn't really singing, almost
Makes
rapping,
sense.
but then try to sing a little bit, and then come to find out it was Bow Wow, and I was just like, ugh, why? Why is this television?
I just heard of that show for the first time like a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
I had no idea it even existed.
It's an interesting show. I will say, for all the crazy singing competition shows and gimmicky shows that are out there, I look at it from the artist's perspective because they get a chance to do stuff that they really don't get a chance to do. Like, how many times do you hear Shaka Khan singing like a rock song? But you don't know Shaka Khan. She gets a chance to actually perform a song outside of their genre and, get a chance to live a little bit. I think even Gladys Knight was doing like a country song or something. It was like something weird. But
that is a pretty cool aspect of it.
Yeah. Kind of bring back the live action anonymity, I guess, if you will.
Moving right along, we have KAYTRANADA, Stepped On, and this is from his 2024 album.
Okay.
That is called Timeless.
Mm-hmm.
It is quite somewhat large. It's got 21 songs, but it's a little over an hour. We have had him. Well, have we had him outside of the KAYTRANADA? We've had him a couple times on the podcast, right? On other playlists?
I don't think so.
Or am I just thinking of just songs you shared to me privately? Because I know we're both a pretty big fan of his, so maybe that's not confusing the two.
Yeah. We just had the KAYTRANADA album, and we haven't really featured him as a solo act. A solo producer, but we definitely are fans of his music.
Yes,
and his remixes of other people's songs.
Yeah, this song Stepped On, and I've not listened to the whole album. I keep meaning to go back and do that, but I just haven't yet. But this song definitely keeps that trend going strong. I feel like I'm a pretty big fan of this song.
Mm-hmm.
It's got a good. I don't even know. How would you describe the beat? What kind of beat is this?
So to me, KAYTRANADA is like, he's the happy blend of electronic and hip hop, and like almost a little bit of a jazz kind of lo-fi vibe. Like he encompasses all of that, and he's just like a vibe, and I admire him as a producer first and foremost.
Same.
He takes a lot of the elements from other producers that I like and takes them and incorporates samples and the lo-fi sound and makes it his own. And the bass is his friend. He knows how to manipulate that bass like no other. And
which we've said numerous times is vastly important to a song to have good bass.
Mm-hmm. And he knows how to finesse that bass line.
He definitely 100% knows how to finesse that bass line. I agree.
Yep. I enjoyed that one, and so much so that full disclosure, I had to kind of give myself a recap of the playlist because there's a lot of music that we listen to, and so when this song came on, I had my system blaring a little bit, and the song was playing, but I was just like, dang, who car out there bumping with all that bass like that? And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, that's in the song.
Me.
That's me. But the way he mixed it though, is not like, it's aggressive, it's in your face, but it's like also afar, like how he mixed it. So it has the thump, but it's not like rattling your trunk kind of thump. It's like, to me, like you can be listening to the song and it sounds like somebody else is driving by with a loud ass system and happens to kind of blend in with your song. Right. And that's kind of like sounded when listening to it. So I ended up playing that back like a couple times and like thoroughly enjoying that song. So yeah, it's a whole ass vibe for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, this one was another happy accident because I knew I had this whole sentence honestly pretty much in my head, and I was like, I had the sentence. I'm like, I'm gonna find songs that match the sentence in my head, or at least as close to it as I can possibly get. Mm-hmm. So there was another song that I almost had on here just because it was the first one that popped up when I typed in "Stepped On." It's by Youngboy, Never Broke Again. But then just whenever I was like finalizing the playlist, I was like, I don't know if I hadn't even listened to the Youngboy Never Broke Again song yet, but I was like, I don't know if maybe there's another song that I'm actually like somewhat familiar with. So I just happened to I was going through several of my picks again just to see if there was alternatives I could find for them. And then I happened to see KAYTRANADA and I was like, ooh, he's got to go on here. Like, he's got to go on here. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's one of my favorites in general, just on the whole playlist, honestly.
Definitely.
Between patting myself on the back on that one.
Yes, for sure. Out of your picks, I rank the not aforementioned, but soon to be mentioned one. I rank that up top as my favorite, but Stepped On, Feels, and then Black finishes off my list. I can do without the Giraffe and the Like You.
Well, I think the song you were alluding to there is Clouds by J. Cole. Is that what you were just
Absolutely. Talking? The best pick.
And that's a relatively recent song as well. That just came out like March this year.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. That's just a single that came out.
I can definitely tell that it was recent because he mentioned Bullet and Miss Trump.
He's talking about Bullet and Miss Trump, but he has several lines talking about like gray hair and him getting old. So it's obviously not like, this is not a young J. Cole throwback. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't make much sense if it was.
But yeah, that song, if there is a single song between this one and a soon to be other song on the playlist, definitely encapsulate. God dang, why can I not talk today? Encapsulates the vibe of this episode. I'm not editing any of this out. Leave it in there. My brain shut off halfway in the middle of my sentence.
That's great.
We're having a full 1921 moment.
1921.
There's a number missing.
I do like how in the spelling of the title, the C and the S in Clouds is lowercase, so you got loud. is all uppercase.
I saw that. I was just like, why?
But then you listen to the song and it kind of makes sense because like straight up. I love that chorus, by the way. The whole song is a vibe, I mean, I've said before, I'll say it again, I'm a huge J. Cole fan. This is another one I think his cadence, his style of rapping is just very easy to listen to for me.
Yeah. Yeah. It just like, and then the production, like that's what won me over first and foremost. And of course, Cole just got on there and just bodied it, just completely massacred that beat. And I'm quite sure he produced it himself, more than likely.
From what I know, I don't know 100% who produced this track, but I know at the very least he works very closely with any producer that he works with. Like he's like in the booth with them. Like he's not just getting a ready-made track often, at least not very often, sent to him, and he's just like hopping into booth and rapping on it. Like he's usually, from my understanding, working with the producer to craft the beat, and then he's writing to that beat after it's made, which
is perfect.
Like it's perfect. I definitely appreciate that. If you're able to do that, I think it is a little bit higher bar of a talent that you're hitting, I guess is a way to put that, maybe.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I'm a firm believer in the marriage between artist and producer, as far as like the collaboration. Like you shouldn't. I mean, obviously there are some situations where you may get something that's almost like kind of ready made, and all you gotta do is just add your part to it, and then you may take it and okay, cool. I'll just take this track since it's pretty much already done. You just need one little part from me. Okay, cool, that's fine. But when it's just something about you can tell sonically, you can feel when an artist and a producer has collaborated closely on the track to where the lyrics and the production go hand in hand. There's no friction. It's just like a unison collaboration, and I love that.
And this is again just a solid example of that. Got some good lines. Like I love how he ends talking about AI and like literally, whatever happened to the human beings. Like how he ends the final verse is just like somewhat profound on a song that's like kind of a vibey smoke session type song, right? Like he's hitting on some pretty big ideas, honestly, a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. As my Google assistants and Alexas and Bixby's and all of them start going off.
Right.
They're like, we must destroy him. So yeah, that's pretty dope. So that concludes Black Giraffe Feels Like You Stepped on Clouds.
Yes.
Because that's what the Black Giraffes be doing it.
That first sentence, the first half of the playlist takes you up. And then the second half, we're up. And then we're at the end of it, we are just happy we made it back down.
Yes. And this is the part of the episode where if you got 10 to your ears, which I don't know how you made it this far, it's about to get crazy.
Yes.
So the next sentence, which happens to be mine, which was a happy accident. I did not seek any of this out. My sentence is, Black Giraffe pussy so high, I'm glad we made it down.
I'm so glad we made it down.
I'm so glad we made it down.
I feel like the so glad, the so in there really adds the proper emphasis you need, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one was, I knew the only song that for sure I was going to have on this playlist was Black by Sevendust. I was going to have that on the playlist for sure. And then
I was a little sad because at first, whenever I searched just Black, that was like the first song that came up. And I was like, oh, that'll be perfect because we've had Sevendust before. I've been meaning to listen to them more. And then you happen to get your picks done before I did. So you sing yours. And I was like, oh man, I got to find another. But then, I ended up leaning on Pearl Jam. So it was fine. But
you end up leaning on Pearl Jam, but you're also like, yeah, I got to lean on Pearl Jam. I don't like this one. But yeah, so my first song was Black by Sevendust. Then the second song is simply called Giraffe Pussy by Baby Bash and Paul Wall featuring Berner, not to be confused with Burna Boy. This is just a regular guy named Berner, which I guess is the guy that's on the hook. I don't know, but Baby Bash and Paul Wall were two names that I was familiar with back in the early 2000s.
I'm gonna say way back.
Way back. And for them to collaborate together on a song about giraffe pussy, I was like, okay, this has to go on there. Sight unseen, just added to the playlist. So the way I arranged this playlist and put it together, I just found the song, added it to the playlist, and listened to it later. I didn't listen to any of these songs prior to it. It just kind of happened that So High by Doja Cat was perfect for the theme. Because I was like, okay, I know Doja Cat. Song's called So High. Threw it on there. I'm So Glad by Freddie Dredd. Never heard of this person before. Never listened to the song. Didn't know anything about him. It was like, I'm so glad.
Same.
I am glad too. Third on the playlist.
I'm glad you're glad, Freddie. Let's add you here.
Yeah, relatable. We Made It by Louis Tomlinson, whatever. I'd never heard this person before. Whatever. Threw it on the playlist. I was gonna use We Made It by Busta Rhymes featuring Linkin Park back when Chester Bennington was still alive. They did a song together, and I was gonna put that on here, but I was just like, that's kind of like not really the vibe I was going for. But that is a good song if you're looking for a We Made It. If you want to, for whatever reason, want to remake this playlist, you want to find your other alternative versions of the songs we picked. We Made It by Busta Rhymes and Linkin Park is a good pick, but no,
I kind of wish you would have picked that one instead.
Ooh, catching a stray. And lastly, actually, I lied. And then and Down was the pick that I knew that song, and I picked that one just out of memory. Cause I was like, how can I close this out? And I was like, I'm so glad we made it. Oh, Down. And that one I knew.
It's a very strong closer to the playlist, first and foremost. It's also, I think, my favorite song of your picks.
Really?
Yeah.
Not Giraffe Pussy?
No. No.
But you love giraffes. And you love.
Yeah.
I mean, you love both of those.
I do. Not together, first and foremost. And that song itself is like just, man. Yeah, let's just go ahead and dive into Giraffe Pussy by Baby Bash from Paul Wall, because that song's hard to listen to on repeat multiple times in a row, bro. Especially if you're like listening to it while you're out in traffic. You definitely can't have it turned up with the windows down.
High that Giraffe Pussy.
Like every time this song would come on, whenever I'm like driving home from work or just driving out about, I would have to turn it down to like, normally I keep my volume at like 20, 25. It would go down to like 5 or 10, dude. I'd barely be able to hear it. I'd be in there whispering in my car, I'm higher than Dredd. Like, yeah, I did not want people pulling up next to me at the stoplight to hear me playing this song.
Man, I was debating. I was like, this might be a bridge too far. But I was just like, you know what? I know my man's, he likes giraffes. I know my man's like pussy, so I was like, why not?
I have heard the expression in the song. Sure. I've heard that a few times throughout in my life.
For sure.
Just people, that's just a funny way to say you're like too turned up. Or
you too turned up, or you way up there.
You took, whatever it was, you took too much or whatever. Like I've heard people say that a few times before. But it's just literally that. It's like, they just say that over and over again. The one part that does genuinely crack me up, and I have somewhat of a personal connection to it, is whenever they're like, I'm higher than giraffe nuts. So I've liked giraffes basically like my whole life, right? So back in middle school, back on like the Xbox 360 gaming days, my gamer tag was actually giraffe nuts.
Wow.
Just because I thought it was so funny to like 12-year-old me have giraffe nuts as my gamer tag. It actually I had several friends just all over the country of just random people that I only knew through gaming that would like just add me as a friend because my name cracked them up so much at the time.
I mean, it is funny. It's just, I mean, let's just face it. Giraffes are a funny animal in general.
It's a funny animal. It is. That's a huge part of why I relate to them so much, for sure. They're awkward and funny looking.
Yeah. So, and again, people understand our company's name, Black Giraffe. He's the giraffe. I'm the black one. So, make that work. But speaking of black, let's double back into black.
By Sevendust, which is a pretty good song. I really like the message on that one, honestly.
Yeah. So this song
surprisingly positive.
Yeah. This song happened upon me out of order. So the version that I have on the playlist is the first version of the song that I heard. And that's when Sevendust released their acoustic album that I thought was their real album. So I was like, I like this band called Sevendust. It's like very acoustic and like, vibey or whatever. And then I was telling one of my coworkers about it, and they was just like, yeah, that's not their real album. They're covering their own song. They just like maybe like one new song on there. I was like, huh? Yeah, they've been a band since like the 90s. I was like, who? What? So I was just shocked that, like, first of all, like when I looked, the cover art for the cover album was like, it's like brass and all like 3D, whatever. So I didn't see a picture of them or anything like that. So I didn't know anything about them. Then I looked them up and I saw that they had like an African American in their band. I was like, wow, black people doing rock too?
What like position in the band?
Is he the singer? I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I think he's the singer, the lead singer.
That's dope.
Yeah. So, oh wow, that tracks. And they're based out here in Atlanta. So that's another reason why I like them so much too. So they're from Atlanta.
LaJohn Witherspoon.
Yep.
LaJohn.
LeJean. Yeah. So I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's dope as fuck. So then I went back and listened to the original version of the song. And I like the acoustic. The acoustic is up there. I love it. But bro, the original version off their second album, I believe, from back in 1996. You haven't heard it yet, right?
I don't believe so.
All right. Well, you about to hear it right now. Let go.
Okay, wait. Pause it for a second. I just realized this is the version that's on the YouTube playlist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I've been listening to this version this whole time.
What? That's the version you put on there?
Yeah, I didn't know. I just typed in the song. It doesn't say acoustic or anything on the Spotify.
It doesn't. Okay, so fair enough.
So I guess now I need to listen to the acoustic version.
That is hilarious.
I'm sitting there listening, like, whenever you asked me that, I was like, isn't it already a rock? I was like, am I crazy? Is that an acoustic version?
Yeah.
And then, as you were playing, I'm sitting there listening, like, this is definitely the version I've been listening to, which I like a lot. I like it a whole lot.
Which is crazy. Okay. All right. So we're going to switch into the acoustic version that Brandon has not been listening to this entire time.
That's great.
All right. So, we're going to get the whole thing then. Now that we got that cleared up, because apparently
I've been listening to two different versions.
Two different versions. I typically lean on the Spotify playlist. You lean on the YouTube version of the playlist.
I like both versions a whole lot in different ways. I like his. I mean, obviously, in the acoustic version, anytime you have an acoustic song, the voice is going to be kind of more front and center. But man, his voice like really shines on that acoustic. He's got this grittiness and this gravitas to his voice.
Yeah, and then also because like the acoustic version that came out in 2014, and then the other version
was like 98,
98, 96, 97, somewhere around there. So you definitely hear the aging of the voice a little bit, to where the acoustic version definitely sounds more, like you said, gritty. Has that grit to it. But yeah, that was the first version I heard. First time I even heard of Sevendust period was this acoustic album. So that just threw me off completely. So I was in reverse order and had to go backwards and go back in time and be like, okay. Now I know who I'm listening to. So
I also think listening to the acoustic kind of let me, again, with I guess the voice being front and center, key in on the lyrics a little bit more. I feel like I might have misspoke by saying it's got it's not as like negative message, but it's not quite the positive message I think I was reading into it at first whenever I said that earlier. So it's got a little bit of some darkness to it, a little bit.
Yeah, I interpret it as having a little, I don't want to say darkness either. It's like somewhere in between. It's more like a blunt thing, honestly. I
think the message of like, I ain't doing nothing wrong, I'm minding my own business, like leave me alone. Yeah. Like I'm okay with that part. But it's like the whole, like, I feel like I'm in hell and the devil's in my soul. I'm not gonna let him take control. Like those kinds of lines is like, what are we really talking about right now?
Yeah. I don't disagree. I guess I look at it as more of a picking yourself up kind of thing. Like I'll lean more towards the positive side of it, I guess, potentially.
I mean, I definitely do too. I initially was like really keen in on just the chorus whenever I said that like a few minutes ago. But yeah, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Definitely not all sunshine and roses. Definitely not.
I don't want to mislead people hearing me say like, "Oh, it's such an upbeat, positive song," and then they listen to it and like, "What was he on about with this?" It's not
right. So we did already kind of let it all out about your love for giraffe pussy. Any other thoughts before we move on to the? Okay,
no, I skipped
it. All.
It was like that and "Like You" by Bow Wow were the two that the first few times, like literally maybe the first 2 or 3 times I listened to the playlist, I gave them their fair shot, and then after that, I pretty much skipped them every time.
Yeah, giraffe pussy, I couldn't skip that one. That tickled me too much.
It's just so dumb, man.
I know, but it's earwormy though, and the beat go hard though. Like I have no idea what the verses were.
Good.
I care less about I almost called him Bow Wow, Baby Bash or Paul Wall. Whatever. I didn't care anything about it. I was just too much repeat
you were
the
just
chorus.
Vibing. I'm higher than giraffe pussy.
Higher than giraffe pussy. Higher than giraffe nuts.
It's so dumb.
It's so dumb. But okay, moving on from giraffe pussy to another pussy cat. God, that segue was terrible. Moving on to Doja Cat. So High.
Which just came off of, I just was doing some light looking up a lot of the songs on the playlist. This came out of their like her debut EP back in like 2013 or 2014 or something, which also surprised me. I didn't realize she came out that long ago. I thought she was more of like a 2017, 2018. There was like a whole half a decade of her coming out with music apparently before I had ever heard of her. Which was news to me, which is weird. I'd heard this song before, but again, I don't think I'd heard this song until after it had already been out several years. It already had millions of views and was quite popular.
Yeah. So to go from Move to this. So, I mean, again, if you're going to make Move, you clearly got to be so high to come up with Move. So, yeah, it's just a vibe, man.
This one is definitely a vibe. It is, looking on YouTube at least, was the most viewed or most listened to song from that EP. I think this song definitely was a huge part in kind of catapulting her to her fame.
100%. And like looking on Spotify, on this EP called Purr, So High is definitely it outblast every other song on the EP.
Yeah, it's the same on YouTube. Like it's far and away like the most listened to song on the EP.
Yeah, absolutely. It is again a whole total vibe, matches the whole 420 getting high thing. Just and then if we didn't do the sentence structure and we kept these songs on the playlist as is, I would definitely put Clouds and So High back to back.
They're two vibes. They're two vibes in a pod is what I'll say.
Yes.
That's what those two songs are for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it. It's a damn good song.
It's a really good song. I like how she gets to make the pun of her name being Doja Cat, and she gets she has a line about Doja referring to the weed, and then I know you want some of this purr, talking about and then okay. Terrio, no.
Okay, we just literally got to talk about giraffe pussy. Now you can't say. Now you want to censor yourself? Really?
It seems funnier that way.
Well, she's talking about her. I can't say the word.
Her Yahoo. Like
her Yahoo. Her hoo ha.
Yeah, there you go. Her hoo ha. Exactly. Look, I'm trying to respect Mrs. Doja Cat, okay? Like
Yes, understood. Yes. Fair enough.
Well, yeah, it did kind of tickle me that she got to play around with like the lyrics of her name and like just very good song, especially if it's like her breakout EP, like showing she's got some talent like out the gate. Yeah,
and singing and being able to flow equally as good.
Yeah,
like that's very, very,
very
that's talent. There's some people that try to do it and they can't do it, or just I don't know, just do one of them well and the other one garbage. But Doja, she's like phenomenal at both.
She's also got the type of voice that really lends itself well to a song where you're going for like the I'm so high vibe and like you're talking about stuff of that nature. Like she just has that kind of slow, what's the word? Not raspy, but like
sultry.
She got the the kind of slow down sultry tone to her voice that really lends itself to talking about this type of song.
Yes.
Yeah, just also don't have very many notes. Loved it. That was like maybe top 3 favorite songs on the playlist for me. That was definitely one I never skipped.
Oh yeah,
like Giraffe Pussy, which I always skip.
yes, you can't skip that one. However, I am so glad to skip this next song.
Yeah. That was this was another one I did not really like, if I'm honest.
So this one, I've again sight unseen, threw it on there. I saw that it had like a lot of a lot of plays. I was like, oh, okay, this I guess is a good artist. Let's throw in there. If it's the theme, why not? When I got to the song, I was like, oh my God, what have I done? But I've already committed. I've already committed, and I wasn't going to back out of it. I was like, I'm not going to change this whole sentence. The sentence itself is perfect. But man, I should have did more research on it. So the little research,
it's not great.
It's not a great song. It's not for me, but apparently he is very popular. So Freddie Dredd is a Canadian rapper, known for his gritty lo-fi, this new genre of music called funk, spelled PHONK.
Oh,
which is like a blend of, I don't know, like distortion and hip hop and like just kind of like it's like a unedited, like a dirty version of songs. And then like his lyrics and his samples and stuff are like unpolished, and he intentionally distorts his voice, so that's kind of his thing. But apparently he grew popular through SoundCloud and TikTok, and that's where he got his claim to fame and kind of blew up. He has like a song called GTG and Cha Cha. Never heard either one of them, but apparently it's a popular TikTok thing. I don't care to go for it any further than that, but
I don't either. Not based off this song that we have.
Not based off this song. This. I mean, I'm glad you signed your deal too.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you made it somehow, but
I'm glad. I mean, everything ain't for everybody, but this is one where I was just like, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe in a couple of years, or maybe upon a different listen or a different ambiance situation, is just compared to everything else in this.
I'm definitely hearing I'm learning now today, apparently purposefully unpolished nature of the song. That definitely comes through quite clearly, in my opinion. In my opinion,
super
also
clear.
Not for the best.
Nope.
There's something to be said. We've kind of said similar things on several past episodes about how, sometimes the roughness of a work of art, or like the unpolished nature, can lend itself to the song or whatever the work of art is, of it being, kind of more authentic and an amateur expression of whatever is being displayed or expressed or whatever. It's weird to me to like intentionally try and add that in afterwards. It's one thing if you're just like, you're trying to make the best product you can, but you're new to it and you're still learning and figuring it out. And so it's a little rough around the edges as you're trying to figure out your artistic expression, right? It's weird to me to be like, yeah, all that stuff I grew up and like learned how to like move past, I'm going to slap all that shit right back in. Like, that's just so weird to me as a take. But you said, everything ain't for everybody.
Yeah. This is definitely one of the ones I skipped, and luckily it was short. To like,
yes, that's like it's one saving grace. Is it's like what, a minute? Yeah, it's like a minute 50. It's not even 2 minutes. So the few times it would just like play through, by the time I'd like kind of really catch on, if I just had it in the background, be like, oh, this song's playing, I got to skip it. It'd basically already be done, which was nice.
The song is so bad it skips itself.
Right.
Which is pretty bad. Then moving on down to "We Made It" by Louis Tomlinson or whoever. So
I believe, isn't this one of the guys from One Direction?
I just found that out. I literally did not know. So I was like, oh, "We Made It." And again, I was going to use "We Made It" by Linkin Park and Busta Rhymes. And I was like, oh, let me go find another "We Made It." And then I was like, oh, this song has a lot of plays. Surely it has to be good. Throw it on the playlist. Sight unseen. Don't even know who this Lewis person is. Maybe he's an up and comer. Maybe he'll have somewhat of a career. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe somebody knows something about him. The song itself, I will admit, is not terrible. It is 100% pop, mainstream, cookie cutter, whatever.
That's what I hate about it.
Yeah. It's generic. It's generic as all hell.
Generic. It's so generic and almost soulless a little bit to me.
It is, but coming off of "I'm So Glad," it actually sounds great. So I think that's probably why I like it.
I honestly didn't skip it as much as I skipped "I'm So Glad." To be fair, I only skipped "We Made It" a good maybe handful of times.
Yeah.
So there is something to that. You kind of lucked out with your song placement a little bit on that, because "I'm So Glad" is really rough to listen to. So at least "We Made It" is like professionally produced, and it's like, oh, we did make it.
We made it past. I'm so glad.
It does also, there's a couple lines of like, what is it? Like, you were so high whenever we were holding hands.
Mm-hmm.
Never coming down with your hand in mine, baby. You were still high. Never coming down with your hand in mine. So it still somewhat lends itself to the theme of the playlist.
Yeah,
a little bit. It's got a line at least, so you can be like, okay, that connects.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take whatever thread that we can make it work. It's definitely that. Again, it's just, I don't know. I didn't know anything about the artist, nor did I realize it to that very recently upon doing my research that he's one of the founding members of One Direction, and this was off of his debut solo album back in 2020 or 2019 or whatever. But, I mean, it's definitely a radio 100%. Song for sure. And not surprisingly, it was like one of the singles. But looking at the album reviews, people were kind of like meh about it because it is kind of generic. But I don't know.
I don't really keep up with it like super. Well, I'm not super on top of it or anything, but I feel like from memory, all of the One Direction guys that have come out with solo albums, like none of their solo works have been like super high praised.
I mean, other than Harry Styles, and I think Zayn had a little bit of a pop-off moment, but
they both had moments, but I don't think Harry Styles, I don't think either one of them has really like kept that. Now, I think Harry Styles is trying to like get in the movies.
Yeah, he definitely pivoted more into acting compared to music, but that's all we got to say about that. Moving on to the closer.
I don't got much more beyond what we already said of it.
I mean, I really don't either. Just kind of just like.
I also had a girlfriend that was like in love with One Direction back in their heyday, and had like posters of like each of the four members like on her like wall in the dorms in college, and that just made me hate them just on a personal level. So I've never really been able to get past that either. So once I remembered, because I had a similar thing, was like, I know this guy's name, and I was listening, I was like, this is just like a kind of generic pop song. It's not bad, but it's not great. And then I remembered finally who Louis Tomlinson was, and I was like, this motherfucker.
He said,
I had to look at your picture hanging on my girlfriend's wall for way too long. But then we moved down from there on the playlist to Down by Marian Hill.
Down by Marian Hill.
This might be... It's definitely, I think, my favorite of your picks, and it's put it in a good argument to be my favorite, like, honestly, on the entire playlist. Like, it's up there neck and neck with, like, some of my other favorites for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. So, this song was a happy accident from way back when. This is back in 2014-ish, I think. And I think I heard this song either in a commercial or something. And I kind of fell in love with it that way. And that was pretty much like, I was like, oh, I like this song. And I like Shazammed it and like found it and just kind of just fell in love with it. It's been a part of my rotation ever since on one of my offline playlists that I listen to from time to time. The thing that I did not know coming into this after putting it on this playlist and doing a little bit more further research, because I thought, the girl singing, her name was Marian Hill. Well, it's not. And it's not a girl. It's her and her producer. So that's the group's name. Is Marian Hill.
Oh.
So that threw me off.
Yeah, I would have assumed. I did assume the exact same thing you just said this whole time.
Mm-hmm. So Marian Hill is a artist-producer combo based out of Philadelphia. And the singer, her name is Samantha. And the producer, his name is Jeremy. And they've been making music for a while. They actually released new music relatively recently. I haven't listened to any other song other than this song by them, so I don't know what other songs they have or whatever other style that they have. But if it's anything in this vein, I'm in. But I just love the simplicity of it. I mean, sometimes you just need like a footstep and a hand clap. Sometimes you need a piano and an 808, and that's it. And that's all I needed. And this is the perfect way to bring us back down from being so high.
Yes.
To close out this weird ass playlist.
It is both lyrically and vibe wise, sonically speaking. I had not heard the song before this playlist, so my first listen through, whenever it got to the end, I'm listening to the song for the first time. I was not expecting it to be like the type of song it was, the style of song, because she comes in with like the kind of soft, like almost no
jazzy,
instrumentation.
Right?
Yeah, it's like a very, very light, soft, somber jazziness, kind of just, again, very lightly playing underneath, and she's just like softly singing, and I was like, okay, so this is like really bringing us down. And then the down, 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 like, you know, all the like
down,
the dubstep, yeah, all that comes in, and I was just like immediately like, okay, I'm here for it, Marian, let's go.
Right.
Like it was a good switch up, and then she, you know, every verse she kind of drops back into that soft style of singing again before the verse comes back in and the beat drops again, and it's just the back and forth juxtaposition.
The anticipation,
the anticipation of it is great. Yeah, I love the song, and I was like literally down, 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 like as I'm like listening to it, just singing along to the you know, edited parts of that. It was a great song, great way to end the playlist. Definitely, of all the songs on this playlist, that's one that I have like, I'm hoping I will. I mean, there's several on here, but I'm really hoping that one I'll start seeing just all the time, sporadically. I like my mega, you know, conglomerate playlist that I have or whatever. So
conglomerate, your mega 18-hour playlist that you have on the side.
Exactly.
Like the perfect road trip playlist. Just hit play and don't ever change.
I'm driving to Australia.
That's it.
We're going
down under. But yeah, definitely this pick. Out of the picks, for me, I would say "Feels" by Giraffage, "Stepped On," "Clouds," Doja, and "Down." Those are
definitely my top 5, and it's really it depends on my mood, like what kind of vibe I'm wanting to feel on which one of those is like my favorite at any given moment.
Yeah,
I think. How do we want to end this?
I don't know. Full disclosure, we tried to record this episode 3 times, y'all.
Yep.
It's been issue upon issue, some technical, some other.
They've all been technical, just some are on a more personal technical level.
Yeah, personal, technical, natural issues per se. But if you enjoyed this playlist and enjoyed us rambling and figuring out how to explain this crazy cacophony of songs,
good words, sir.
I know I could throw them out there every now and then. I might not be able to speak worth a damn, but I could throw a big word every now and then.
That word trips me up every time. I always want to say cacophony. You said it perfect. You said it perfect right at the gate, dude. No stumble or nothing, man. I'm really impressed right now. I'm not gonna lie to you. Cacophony, man. You said it so well. I have to practice that word in my head like 8 times before I can say it out loud. I want you to know. Every time. Like right when I just said it both times right at the end, I had to say it like 4 times in my head before I said it out loud. It wants to come out cacophony every time.
Cacophony. Goddamn. Okay. Look. Thank you for listening to the playlist. You know where to find it. Go to outtheplaylist.com for our socials and everything else. Support us on Patreon. Support our Black Giraffe community.
We do also have a little bit of an announcement.
Oh, that is right.
that we've wanted to really tie into this episode.
I was ready to close this shit out and not to promote the whole reason of us doing this.
Bruh.
Okay. So we're excited to announce that we are in the process of building our own community for the listeners and the fans, and for anyone that is a fan and wants to support us in our creative endeavors beyond podcasting, including podcasting and beyond podcasting. So we're excited to announce that we're launching a brand new website called blackgiraffemadethis.com. It is currently under construction, but you can go ahead and sign up now to our new email list that we're going to start building for our early subscribers. And once the website is launched and live, you will get a special treat for being one of our earlier subscribers early on to support us. We're planning on launching with exclusive content, more behind the scenes stuff, as well as releasing merch.
Merch.
For this podcast and some of the other things and other Black Giraffe related items as well. So we're super excited. It's going to be, again, this podcast is a labor of love, but labor of love does not pay the bills. So if, this is a good way that you can help keep the show ad free or keep the show ad free as of now. But either way, it's your way to support us. Just like throwing us a little bone here.
And with the merch, you also get to, you're supporting us monetarily, but then you're also supporting us just by, wearing a cool shirt or cool hat or whatever it is that you may end up getting. And then just through word of mouth, telling more people about us as they ask about your cool merch you got from us. So that also helps us a lot, just spreading the word, getting more ears on our content, which is what, we're all about. We want more people to experience music in all varieties and ways it comes in. So
absolutely. So you want to get more ears on the content, and if we can, continue to grow the audience as well as grow as content creators as ourselves, maybe get some eyes on us as well. And, more big things down the line. We have big goals, big dreams. And this is a little way that we can have a more tangible control of our community, and we can not necessarily depend on the social media networks that are constantly in flux. At least we know we can carve out our own corner of the internet and have our own little tower of Black Giraffes in our Black Giraffe community. So look for the link in the show notes, blackgiraffemadethis.com. All things Black Giraffe is after playlist and more. And we do mean more. We got more. Some stuff. Be on the lookout. Seriously, we got some stuff brewing up already in the oven. Just got to take her out.
We're just waiting for that loaf to rise, buddy.
That's it. All that being said, thanks again. Yeah, keep on listening.
Keep on listening, everybody. Bye.
Black Giraffe made this.
Like, for real, though, we made this.
Yeah. Legitimately, we made this.
We're making this. We are Black Giraffe.
We did it. It's us.
Seriously.